jealous much. But he got a prescription to take care of it.
I think we're good.
Wonderful. Say that like.
What's that?
I'm sorry, what?
What, that just told us that I was doing it back at it? Is this camera here going to be a problem? I think this. It is.
Oh.
No, it is.
Let's talk
See
about
this
that. I have a
microphone here?
question for
This is going to be
host
the
today.
row of people doing Q&A.
What is with this elevator music, man? It put me to sleep. Can we drop the beat? Can I get some techno, some...
I'm afraid
I
that
want
people are going to
Snoop
stand
Dogg
up
or Macy Gray.
and they're going to
Right.
take your
Give me-
I'll take some Wool John.
No, don't listen. Don't listen to man.
We can move a chair or two and get farther in.
Some Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg does educational stuff. Macy Coolio.
I like Macy Gray. You are related to a psychopath.
John is a house designer now.
Okay, now I'm interested.
You know what though?
Let's do Coolio because we just in honor of
Oh, here it goes.
I think that for my mental
Y'all can turn Barry's mic off.
no, for my mental health tomorrow, we'll start it with Macy Gray. You are related to a psychopath. They kind of fit.
It does. It does.
What is it about this
Everyone,
room?
if you guys have questions, feel free to line up behind the
Oh, wait, have we started? Yeah, we
middle. But I think
Yeah, we have.
I'm gonna cut this whole Marcy Gray nonsense.
Macy.
Whatever.
I tried to say goodbye and I chose.
Perfect. Are we starting now?
Good work.
Okay, so here's the deal. Since I'm sitting at the center, we are so happy that out of all the things you could be doing right now, that you chose to spend a little bit of time with us. There's nothing planned. We don't have any agenda. We are all yours, and you've got to start to ask us anything you want.
It does say PG though.
It is what?
It does say PG though.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we don't want to get, it's too early in the day to be all raunchy. By the way, some of the young ones in here, I think, didn't you just audition in my panel, some of you younger ones? And we're so talented. I mean, the future is bright.
Yes.
Kind of like this stage at the moment. So I think the way that they're going to do things, like they said, there is a microphone kind of a little further back. And if you have any question, why don't you just kind of line up there and we'll do our best to answer. If you want a general question or if you want it in particular to one, why don't we start by introducing ourselves and giving you an idea of some of the stuff we do? Get ahead.
Well, hello. My name is Amanda Gish. I am a voice actor. And some of the animes that I have done is My Hero Academia, Goblin Slayer. I even had a character in Dragon Ball Super. And if you did not know, there is a game that dropped yesterday called Dragon Ball The Breakers, and I am also in that. So that dropped yesterday. I'm one of the voices that you can choose when you customize a survivor. And I haven't done it in a long time, but I was a musical theater major, so I grew up doing theater, and I do some modeling every now and then, not as much since I've gotten older, but it's okay. So we'll move on to a least depressing introduction.
I'll move on, and I'm Barry Yandell. I did the whole musical theater thing. I played Sweeney Todd. That was great. I did it with 4 cracked ribs. That was kind of psycho. As far as video games, if you know Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Tales of Luminaria, or DBZ Kakarot, but most of you know One Piece, Mr. Two Bone Clay, Soul Eater, Little Demon, Black Butler, William T. Spears, and Bob from Fairy Tale, amongst many others, but my latest, I'm very proud of, a little show that premiered on Hulu a couple weeks ago called Spy Family. I'm Headmaster Henderson, who wants everything to be elegant. Speaking of elegant,
Why, thank you very.
please.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Major Attaway. I am a voice actor. I am a Broadway actor, stage, film, anything that they'll let me do. I'm going to say yes. But, yes. I also am a Twitch streamer as well. If you all want to hear this lovely voice more times than just today, you can follow me on I Played Major, where not only am I playing video games that I'm in, but also we're doing a little ASMR where I'm reading things from the public domain. So have a little Wizard of Oz moment, Treasure Island, you know, while you do your daily duties. But some of the things I've done that we're here for today, I am Uroge in One Piece. I am Arcadios in Fairy Tale, and I am Clay in Borderlands 3, the smooth operator. So, we are here today to answer all of your burning questions, you know, whether they be for the voiceover world, the theater world, the backstage on Broadway. I'm ready to answer anything for you.
Or personal.
PG,
personal.
Yeah, well, I'll answer personal questions about what's in my refrigerator. That's not a problem. There's a watermelon. That's it.
So who is going to be, it's always really hard
The
to go
first,
first, isn't it? Who's it going to be? Just get up there,
I will first
go to the microphone.
Oh, she's on it.
That's okay. Oh, she was a great voice actor.
She's a
in
go-getter.
my panel too.
I can tell. She's a go-getter.
Over there, Bo.
Also,
There
please tell us who your
Yeah,
cosplay.
you can line up. So.
Who's your cosplay?
Okay, hi. First of all, I'm cosplaying Amity Blight from the Owl House.
Thank you.
Kind of threw this together last minute as the first episode of season 3 is releasing later today. So I'm excited about that. But this is just a general question for anyone who wants to answer it. What inspired you to get into the voiceover and acting in general? How did you start off? That. That was
You.
Me go first?
Start, sure.
All right, so I originally I wanted to go to Broadway, but I ended up not doing that because I changed my mind and I thought, okay, no, I want to be a movie star, and then that didn't pan out either. And then I was in college and having major identity crisis, going through a very bad depression, and anime kind of helped me through that depression, and it actually was something that truly inspired me because I was still going through my theater, but I had no friends, and I was in a sorority and I could not make friends. And I was watching Adult Swim, and Inuyasha was on, and then the next one that came on was Case Closed, which Barry was in, and so you could say that maybe you inspired me.
Yes.
Anyways, so I was watching Case Closed, and it hit me that voice acting was acting because for some reason I grew up with video games and watching cartoons, and I never stopped watching them. But for some reason, in that moment, going through this depression, watching Case Closed, I literally pointed to the TV and said, "That's acting." And then when I saw the Funimation logo after Case Closed, I looked it up and I was like, "That's in Dallas? This is my sign." And a few years after graduation, I got an audition and I didn't get anything. And it wasn't until 8 years later, after I went through training, after I made some connections, after I got an agent, that I finally booked my first Wallace session at Funimation. So it took me from finding out to when I actually started voice acting, it was about 9 or 10 years.
And let me step in because I did not know, even after working at Funimation, people were wearing shirts that says, "Cut Walla." They got me on. Do you know what Walla means? Most of you probably don't. So she got her first Walla session. Walla stands for With All Actors. So there'll be groups for scenes and maybe they'll staff for a crowd. So you're not really doing individual roles, but you're still a part of the show.
Yeah.
So that's how she kind of started.
You're the character that gets killed by the character that you all love right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So yeah, that was my.
And mine, I'll do really, really short. I know you don't believe me, but I would. My parents were house parents at a children's home in Keller, Texas. So I grew up in a very large home. It wasn't fancy, it was 7 bedrooms, but one's biological sister, and then they raised, like we had like 10 other kids in the house. And I was the youngest one. And my parents always apologized and said, oh, we split our attention, we should have given you more attention. I never felt like I didn't get attention, but I think that I was constantly like, look at me, I need your attention. So I would perform and put on little shows and, you know, do stuff like that. And then I didn't realize I was training to be a voice actor, but you don't necessarily want to impersonate Stewie or Donald Duck or whatever, but I would sit, I'm the oldest at the table clearly, and I would sit and listen to my records and try to mimic the sounds of Michael Jackson, Tina Turner, Karen Carpenter, Captain and Tennille, 70s. And I would just try to experiment changing my voice and whatever, and then later on in life I was like, oh, maybe that's why. I never really thought about it until someone asked me in a situation kind of like this a couple of years ago. I was like, how do I think I became an actor? I think that was it. And it's really a great life, but it's tough, and you gotta have a thick skin and understand that when you're told no, it's not you personally. It's not that you're not worth it. You're always worth it. It's just not your time yet. Yeah? Major?
I would say, yeah, the same way with you, Barry, the way I got into voice acting felt very, like, automatic. You know, it didn't feel, or organic, that's the word, automatic. It felt organic. Like, it didn't feel like there was a time where I said, okay, now this is what I'm going to do. I always had, you know, an unhealthy obsession with video games and cartoons and things like that. You know, Saturday morning, that's what I wanted to do. And there were some that I would say stuck out, like Gargoyles was a show that was big for me.
Yeah.
Based on like the darkness of it and the storytelling and all those things. It was very epic, but it was inside of Manhattan. So that clash of energy was big for me. Big thing like the Magic School Bus. But same with you, Amanda, I got to the end of an episode of one of my favorite shows and I said, who makes this show? Oh, I'm gonna look them up. Oh, I can drive to that place. So I worked hard on putting myself on the wait list to get into Funimation.
I was 2 years for me to get the audition when I put myself on.
Oh yeah, it was like welcome to number 6,000.
Yeah.
I was helping out a friend and they told me no and I walked up anyway and I got an audition because they recognized me.
Well, I finally got in there by, I was doing theater, I've been doing theater my whole life. So, you know, started theater by the time I was in middle school, doing professional theater in the area in Texas. And so those people, once I started doing theater in Dallas with other actors who were already in, you know, video games and anime with Ogretron and Funimation, they helped move my name up the list. But, you know, the most important part of that was when the opportunity arrived, I was prepared to do what was necessary. Because they could have given me an audition and then just never called me back because I didn't know what I was doing.
And a little side note, all of us are originally from Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth. I still live in Texas. She lives now in
Nebraska.
And he lives now in
New York City.
So we still, and I still go to the studio for most. They're able to do some remote. Now during COVID, we did a lot from our closets to keep it going. But anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. I was thinking about our past. We're all from Dallas, Fort Worth area, but kind of branched off. Next up.
Alrighty, Mr. Barry Yandell, you already gave a vocal exercise, so which leads my question to all y'all. What other exercises would you recommend for voice work?
I would say breathing techniques are big. For me, a director pointed it out to me before I had a reason to acknowledge it, but he commented one day that he was always happy to work with singers because they're trained with just how to use breath support in general and to hold notes and things, very basic things, but that helps a lot when you're matching flaps when it comes to doing
The mouth movement.
yeah,
Flaps.
thank you. Yes, right. We need a vocabulary list.
I know.
I think that would be great. That would be very beneficial. Yeah, it helps a lot when you have to, you're matching mouth flaps, and sometimes the English that we have to use to make the Japanese sentence make sense, it can be a little strange. And so to handle that rhythm and get that out successfully, I would say breathing techniques for sure, and lots and lots of water.
What about you, Amanda?
I totally agree, because I use everything that I learned from theater and choir and everything before I go into a session. Everything from like the Mommy Made Me Mash My M&Ms, doing it in scales. But also, there's one song that I used to sing before every session because it really helped my range, and it was, "What Does the Fox Say?" Because the sounds that they used in that were like a lot like my vocal warm-ups, and I would just sing that a couple of times and my vocal warm-ups were done.
I've never heard that song. What is that from?
Oh, it's not from anything.
It's from YouTube.
And since you brought it up, Bettina, I would like to share the vocal warm-up that changed my life. A lot of what we do in theater, to sit in silence, the reason you do that is for final consonants and diction. But some people, I don't know if you know, take it literally. And I'm middle school, and kids would come on stage and be like, "I am never going to exit this house again as long as I live there." And I was like, "What are you doing? Nobody talks like that." But I'm doing diction like, no. So there is value in it. But in graduate school, I learned, how many people were in my panel? Oh, a couple of you, but this will be great. If you'll just, you know how to do it already, so. Is anybody's birthday today, tomorrow, this week? This month. What name?
Let's just use me. My birthday's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is it really tomorrow?
Does it matter?
Well, I wanted to know if I needed to have a cake baked that I could jump out of. So we'll say happy birthday to Major. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, listen, the tongue is a muscle, and those of you that do the whole sports ball thing, which I've never understood, but you understand that if you don't stretch out before you run a race or play a football game, not only are you not going to do your best job, you might get injured. I've never heard of anybody having a tongue injury because they didn't warm up. But this is the greatest exercise. The main reason it's great is it works for stage too. If I'm going to go on as Sweeney, I want to be thinking in character, not remember to project and enunciate, right? So this automatically does it. I also shared, this might be news to some of you, it's really great info. If I'm in the booth, and I'm known for a lot of one takes, like I'm pretty quick, sometimes it won't even be a tongue twister. It does not come out. And it's like, why can't I say this person's name? It's not even a Sally Struthers, or anything like that. And so I'll go like, hold on, and I'll do this exercise. I'm going to teach you briefly. Problem solved. So what you do is you extend, and you think that I'm going to do it before, because I never ask anybody of my students to do anything I'm not willing to do myself. You stick your tongue out as far as you can to where it's almost uncomfortable. If you kiss Gene Simmons, and you're going to attempt to sing Happy Birthday, Dear Major, as if you were just saying, Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. But with kids, I say, pretend like whoever says it the most clearly, the most normal, you win $1,000. Okay? Notice what I do. I'm not doing happy birthday. I'm going articulators. Happy birthday to you. Okay, y'all are gonna do that. And you know, if it fails, we can do a wonderful production of The Elephant Man or The Miracle Worker. Some of you don't get that.
Oh my God.
Wow. Okay, so everybody stick your tongue out. I know that's very foreign to request, but all the way out, and I'm gonna lead you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Stop, you should already feel it. It's kind of uncomfortable. Happy birthday to you. Whether it is or isn't. Happy birthday to you. Do you hear it? I mean, do you feel it? I know. Okay, so just real quickly, what that does is the tongue is a muscle, and we don't think about warming it up. And now you don't have to think. And real quickly, this is not just for voice acting, this is for theater or film. Or if you have to give a speech or a toast at a wedding or a eulogy, you know, hopefully not. If you have to do any kind of public speaking, it will make a huge difference. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Next question. Nice. Oh, you're kidding. Okay, bye. Oh, here comes somebody, or she's leaving.
She said we got a reservation.
Oh no, look, they've got questions.
Oh, okay.
They are nice.
Try to be
Oh, look.
Hi.
Hello.
What was the most difficult part of you actually voice acting the characters?
Like a particular character or
Like any character.
any character?
I'll go.
Okay.
I had to do this show called Honey Bado, and it was about badminton. Which, why would anybody in the world
Anime.
go like, yeah, it's an anime. Like, oh, cool, a show about badminton. I gotta catch that before I go to bed. Anyway, I played a badminton coach who was so demanding and competitive. I screamed the entire show. There was never a time I didn't scream. And my director, we had like a 2-hour session block, which is pretty, I mean, I've done up to 4. I've never done 6 without like a major break. And she was, I feel like we need to take a break for your voice. I said, my voice is fine, because I'm trained. But I'm like, I have a splitting headache. What is this guy's deal? He screams all the time. I really don't think I ever had a line really where he didn't scream. So that was challenging, yeah. Can y'all think of one?
Go ahead.
I mean, for me, there's certain characters that were challenging. Well, actually, and one thing that's challenging for me is, so with voice acting, you're cold reading, and usually if you're on camera, if you're in theater, you have something memorized, and people are like, well, that's hard, memorizing.
And I'm stepping in because I'm a teacher. Cold read. That means you're seeing it. Well, because we're just like, you know, flaps and blah, blah, blah. Cold read is you're handed it. It's like if I handed you a novel and I opened it up, I said, here, read this to us.
First time.
You've never seen the words. You don't know what's happening. You're just reading it the first time ever. Cold read.
Yeah. I'm also severely dyslexic. And it poses a real challenge with a lot of the characters because, I mean, anime nowadays, we're just go, 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 go. We're pumping out stuff and don't have time to go back to do a lot of things. I've gotten a lot better because after of my first few sessions, I got kind of nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna ruin this, they're never gonna have me back in. But I basically started like pulling books off my shelf and started reading out loud, just to myself, and you know, or whoever would listen, because it was not something that I was used to doing. And with dyslexia, your brain, your eyes don't see things different, but your brain sees things different. And I would get ahead of myself, and of course that would flood me up, and that would make me anxious because I was like, well, this director is used to working with people like one and done, I'm not necessarily a one and done because I start messing up my lines. And one of the worst parts was, well, I kind of had an excuse on this one, but when I voiced Kinoko in the scene where she's spouting off all the scientific mushroom names, one right after the other, that was one of the hardest reads that I've ever had to do. Colleen was literally looking things up on the computer, how to pronounce them, because neither one of us knew how to actually pronounce the mushroom names. And so that, trying to remember how to pronounce them, trying to stay in character, trying to make sure I don't mess up the regular lines that aren't as hard as the other ones, was definitely one of the most difficult that I've had. But I mean, the end result was pretty awesome, and I think I can say them now normally. But then I could not read them and say them.
I had to speak Russian, but real quick before Major tells us his ripping story, that some of y'all heard the library suggestion, right, to go volunteer at the library and read out loud. What she said is so amazing. If you want to be a voice actor, we get used to reading silently in our heads. Mm-hmm. It's so different when you read out loud, even if you're reading out loud by yourself. So if you read, which I suggest just trying to learn to read more, because there's nothing that can
try to learn to read. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, to enjoy reading for entertainment. But whether it's a sports magazine, a home decorating magazine, or a novel, instead of reading it in your head, read it out loud, and that'll help you practice cold reading.
Yes. I think most of the difficulties in my head for the past 2.5 years have all been tech things, to be honest. But I would say, well, and to not say the same thing, yes, lots of yelling, lots of screaming would be difficult. I would say when I've done sessions where I have to switch from multiple shows in 1 2-hour session. Like I've been booked for one show, but it's a one-off character, so he's only in maybe 1 episode or 2 episodes. So then we finish that character in maybe 30 minutes, but I'm booked for 2 hours. And they're like, okay, well then they start sifting through all of the things that they have to fill in, and just because it's like, because I'm there, they're using my abilities to fill in other stuff, which is fine, but then all of a sudden, by the end of 2 hours, you're on 3 or 4 different animes that day. And like the first time I'm playing a monster, and then the second time I'm someone's dad, and then in 30 minutes later, I'm a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Then you get all these credits, you're like, I'm in that?
Right. I'm like in all these random things like Rolling Girls and High School DxD, and I was like, I've never seen this before. What is this?
And you'll go from one booth, and then they'll be like, right. If they need you down the hall in the other booth, and play monster.
So it can be a tad disorienting, but like Barry said, the technique and the training are what keep you grounded. They're what keep you
from injury.
Exactly, allow you to sustain this work. I would say but even the directors know what's going to be trying or telling or asking a lot of your voice. So even days where we're doing video games or like Smite or something like Borderlands, and I think all of us maybe. So yeah, we're all in that. So when we have to, the days where they say, Major, today you're gonna have to die from acid a lot. And I'm like, oh boy, that's pretty rough. But they're gonna give me all of my lines for the first hour, and then we'll take a break, and in the second hour, it's time for me to scream and die for 35 minutes. So yeah, it's a balance between everything. But
an interesting fact, since nobody's standing up for the next question, or are you? Okay, good. I want to tell you before you ask your question that everybody thinks that we're on these shows together, so we know each other. Right. We don't work like 8 hours a day.
I've never seen you
Friday.
So I didn't realize we were in Gobble Slayer.
Yes, we're in Gobble Slayer, and we met yesterday.
Yeah, we
yesterday.
met.
And Major and I have grown up. I've known of him forever because of Fort Worth, Texas. But we met like 2 months, a month and a half or 2 months ago, for the first time in Colorado. And people will be like, what's it like to work with so-and-so? I have no idea. But she was your daughter. What's your point? And then I shared with a lot of you, for those of you that know Black Butler, I have all these scenes with Grell. I've never met the actor.
It's crazy.
We work by ourselves. Is
Hello, thank you for presenting. My name is Damon Meneses. And honestly, after hearing Major's recount of being boiled in acid, I kind of want to ask each of you to do your best take on that. But I'm not going to put you through that on stage. Instead, I would just like to ask each of you to just recount the most fun you've had as voice actors and the story behind it.
Well, let's see. Most fun.
Just do the acid thing.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Turn the game down.
Right? I guess there's a couple of things. In the booth, I would say the most fun I've had as a voice actor was the first time I did a full anime movie in one day. You know, that was wild. It was 6 hours of recording. We took a nice long lunch break in between, but it was the first time that I had gotten to be a voice actor for that many hours at the same time. And that was pretty remarkable for me. Another time would be any time we get to celebrate with the Borderlands community. We went to the Borderlands 3 launch party in Dallas, and it was gigantic. And I'm standing up, I didn't make that one.
I drove down for that.
I was at a con, and we were told we could cancel, but we did not cancel. So we FaceTime crashed Tiny Tina's launch party.
I drove 10 and a half hours for that.
So I would say the best thing is meeting, 10, 20, 30 voice actors that you've been hearing their voice all the time, but then you're standing in line with Joel McDonald, who's one of the directors for the game, and he's telling you the story of how he got Ice-T to be in the game that you're in. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Or Tiny Tina's Wanda Sykes.
Yes.
Yes, and she literally talks about my character at the very beginning. And I was like, Wanda Sykes talks about me.
Talking about fun, this is gonna sound so cheesy. I cut up in the booth a lot, and if you can imagine.
No.
And I love breaking. I told some of you in my panel that engineers are just totally different personalities. And I'm purposely trying to make them laugh. And they'll be like, ah! I didn't get to go to the launch party, and I'm in every Borderlands except 3, so I felt like Sam when they were having those parties. But this is the part that's going to sound so cheesy. Number one, not as cheesy. When we come to cons and we get to actually sit and talk to other actors, it's so refreshing. We never see each other. Some very well-known actors live 2 exits down. I never see them, But this is the corny part. I have not been doing cons that long. I kind of started breaking into the con world, even though I've been voicing for over 20 years. And then COVID hit. Yay. We have to be so thankful that we get to meet here. It's so wonderful. But I am still new enough to this, and I hope I remain this way. I love cons. I love meeting those of you that even care what I do, and that have an interest and know more about my shows than I do. So it sounds cheesy, but we really love getting to spend time with the fans. So that's one of my favorite things about it, So, and this con has proven you're just lovely people.
Yes.
I didn't know what to expect from Boston. I'm kidding. It was the first time in this area, but y'all are just lovely. Next up,
All right.
somebody in purple.
Hi, my name is Ravi. I was wondering, what was your favorite character that you've ever acted as?
Favorite favorite character we've ever
Yeah, you ever voiced.
Well, mine is easy. It's the smallest role, one of my smaller roles. While I adore Bon Clay and the tears were real, but then fell down and I got to know him over such a long period of time. I finally decided that my favorite character is Little Demon from Soul Eater. It's only in a few episodes, but he's kind of creepy, kind of sexy, kind of funny, kind of crazy. I guess I can relate.
Honestly, mine tends to switch.
Mine
If I'm
too.
being honest with you. But right now, it seems to switch to whatever has given me the most fulfillment based on the amount of responsibility. You know, because I feel like I'm in this voice acting space. I'm still feel kind of like a novice, to be
Same.
honest. You know?
Always.
Right? It's been a while. I'm like, I don't know if this is ever gonna wear out. But the truth is, well, and so right now that means the last one would be, his name is, I forgot his name. But the show is Battle Athletes Victory Restart. And it is a remake of a 90s anime that just came out maybe last month on Crunchyroll, or the dub just came out. And I play the detective in the show, and it's given hardcore 90s vibes. So it's kind of reminds me of if I were like voicing Danny Glover in, what, I'm too old for this.
Lethal Weapon.
Thank you, Lethal Weapon. So that's why. The reason it's giving me that is because I auditioned, and when we started recording, the person directing said you're the only person I had in mind for this role. That makes it a favorite because I was the only voice in their heads. I'm like, winner. But yeah.
Yeah, mine totally tends to switch to, because as far as like the most like fun and just like the one that just like surprised me the most was definitely Kinoko in My Hero, because, you know, she showed up a little bit in season 2 and 3, and she only had little reactions. She was very shy, and like all of a sudden there's this cute mushroom girl standing in front of me in this most adorable hat and dress, and I'm like, what does she sound like? And you know, and so me and Colleen kind of came up with a voice, so that was really fun. And she did stretch me because I feel like I would get typecast, and I'm totally okay with being typecast because money is money. And I tend to get typecast as like the lower, slightly more sultry, sexy voices. But you know, Kinoko is definitely like way. We made her kind of like, I don't know, she can be kind of psychopathic. She like almost killed one of her classmates, but then she asked if he was okay, so. You know, she's definitely fun, but it does change. It does change every other day. But because I fall in love with any character I voice.
And by the way, she said Colleen. That's Colleen Clinkenbeard, who is the director on My Hero. Unlike Amanda, I'm not on the series, I'm in the movie Two Heroes. But y'all might be interested. Colleen Clinkenbeard is not only a director, she also voices Luffy on One Piece.
Yes, she does.
He agrees.
Yes.
I concur.
She does that. I do. Yes.
What was your least favorite character? What was your least favorite character to voice line?
I've already talked about mine. My yelling Hanabado badminton guy. Next.
Least favorite. Oh, I mean, it's not that I hate this character, but it was bad. But I don't remember the exact name of the anime, but it was about baseball or softball, and I recorded it at Ovatron. I don't know why this one was at Ovatron, but Riley was doing it. He's a director at Ovatron, and he called me in, and I was booked for like an hour, and I was an umpire, and all I said was safe the whole hour. And we joked because I was like, watch this be the only thing that I say. And we were like, okay.
Well, that reminded me of, I think I told y'all the story. A couple of years ago, I was working with Sonny Strait, and Sonny, you know, is Krillin. But he was directing me in a show called Maria, the Virgin Witch. I have no idea what it was about, but apparently Maria was a good girl and has powers. But I went in and it was a pickup. Like, you have to go in and maybe they just want to correct a little. So I got in the booth and I literally went, and Sonny goes, okay, well that's it. Are you, he was talking about going to a booth to help somebody out, and he goes, where else are they using you? What booth are you going to? And I go,
This is it.
sure. And he goes, you drove, I mean it was only about 45 minutes, but he goes, you drove out here just to do that one sound? I said, don't apologize. I'm your guy. If you ever need someone to come in and go, ugh. I said, because I just did the math and I made $10,000 an hour. I might be exaggerating. I'm not very good at math. I am not above. Listen.
No, not at all.
My first part of my career, because I was teaching school all the time, and the main reason, everybody says, well, you're going to be in my hero series soon. But you mainly record in the main part of the day when I'm teaching school and stuff. So
You have day shifts
I
and
am
night
so
shifts.
not above doing the smallest, who cares? I was coaching this kid, he's like 17, and apparently he got paid this little fee to do some little, I mean, any work is fine, and even if you don't get paid for it. And he was sitting there and he goes, oh, well, I don't work for free anymore. And I went, and I am not a diva at all. I hope I don't act like, I'm very easy to get along with, but I was so offended. And I was like, how dare you put yourself on the same level as me? I said, I started off my career working for free all the time.
Yes.
If anybody cares about your talent and wants to see it, you do it. You don't worry about money. Do you know how many times I did a show at a mall for like $5 or dressed up as Rudolph for a bunch of rich kids, and I live in Texas and there's a lot of them. And we were at this country club and these brats, it was like $100,000 membership a year. And these brats would come up and rip my tail and kick me and say, you're not real.
That's not nice.
I was Rudolph, and I started to believe them. I wasn't real. I was like, you're not either. And then one time, these little kids that were all snooty, they came to see a show of mine, and I was the swing. So I understudied the lead character in this big Christmas pageant. And, oh, I shouldn't say this with kids. No, it's not dirty, but it's offensive. And the lead was an opera singer, and he was really, well, I did a little bit more Les Mis touch. I had a more pop sound. I thought it was better. But I was on that night, and this little boy came up and said, you're doing the narrator tonight? And I said, I am. He goes, ugh. He goes, because my daddy says that you can't sing. And I said, well, tell your daddy that he's retarded. I know that's offensive. But I was just a little offended. Anyway, for those of you that want to do it, there is nothing wrong with working for free to develop your skill and whatever.
Exactly.
So if you were a 17-year-old
Experience is experience.
and you get $5 for doing a voice and you think from now on you've made it, you need to get over yourself. Because you know what? If you
Check yourself.
y'all are so sweet to be fans or whatever. Did you notice what all of us said? We feel like we're still novices. We're still learning.
And I'm like really good.
I mean, I'm only 5 years into this career.
Well, longer, but you're never the best in the world. I'm often the best in the room. I mean, for example. But I'm kidding. Anyway, well, I filled up a little space there. Do we have another one? We're probably nearly out of time after that long story of me ranting about love.
Hi.
So I have a question that any of you guys can answer. If you don't have an answer, that's fine. So what is one of your favorite lines to voice from any character, if you remember it?
Okay, I'll go first because I kind of talked about this. Remember how I said that I could not get the mushroom names down? Well, one of my favorite things to say now is Flamulina
What did you just say?
Exactly. It's a mushroom.
Which type of mushroom?
I don't know.
Special mushroom. And while I love my sweet, sweet, sweet soul leader, I'm going to choose, and I especially love it because the theme here is love never dies or whatever.
Zombie love never dies.
Well, okay. Is Bon Clay. And of course, when he says, save yourself straw boys or straw hats, whatever. But I love when he says, swans never die. And I think somewhere near there is ballet tempo.
When you're in the booth with Gearbox, you get to ad-lib quite a bit when they're making games. And so I was very excited to do Borderlands 3 because I knew that if we find the character, that they're going to let me live in it a little bit. So there's a moment in Borderlands 3 where you need help finding something, and they bring you a tracker, and the tracker is in the form of a monkey that looks for things for you. And so my character he's talking, he's encouraging you, and he's also encouraging the monkey. He's like, God, look at that monkey killing people. Look at that. Ooh, that looked like it hurt. But then the monkey says something which you don't know what the monkey says. But my character answers, because I decided to answer in the booth, and I was like, ooh, indeed, my brother. Ooh, indeed. And so that's one of my favorite lines.
I love it. I did not.
Magical. Do you know that I'll share it too, that I've never recorded at Gearbox?
Me neither. I recorded Tiny Tina in my closet.
Me too.
I have recorded it.
And then when I was through, I came out.
When I recorded it,
Thank you.
when I did Borderlands 3, I was on tour with Aladdin, and so I had to go to multiple places. We were in Costa Mesa, and I drove to Burbank to have to go to a studio there.
On tour.
Yeah, hey, you do what you gotta do. And then I ended up doing my final 2 days of sessions at the place itself, at Gearbox.
Is it in Frisco? Elena for the Frisco?
One of
I
those
think it moved to
places.
Frisco.
Yeah.
And since he got to name drop his tour, I did the tour of South Pacific with someone that one of the most famous voices in the world, and became good friends with her and went to a pool party at her house. Her name's Jodie Vincent. She's the voice of Ariel, the Little Mermaid. Yes. Anytime I could drop her name, I do, because she's lovely.
I have
One more?
never gone on tour.
Got it.
Bubbles!
Hey girl, hey.
Yeah. This isn't exactly on topic, but what's your guys' favorite anime?
Oh, yeah, mine is quick. I have seen so very few. Not because, I've told so many of you this, not because it's not a beautiful art, not because I don't remember. I've never been diagnosed or medicated for ADHD, and I clearly am, so I have a hard time watching them. But I did just complete my new one, almost. I think I have one more episode of Spy Family, and I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was elegant.
I have 2 animes, and they both kind of just changed my life, I feel like. And one I talked about earlier, it was Case Closed, specifically the Funimation dub. Like I said, that's one that inspired me, but I'm also a huge, huge fan of Death Note. And Misa was my very first cosplay back in like 2008 when I started going to conventions as a convention goer. I had no idea what I was doing, I just knew I wanted to be Misa. And I showed up with my sister, we were like, what do we do?
Just walk around and look pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, was that both? Yes.
Yes.
I have 2 as well. My first one would be Attack on Titan, because why not? And the second one is actually one I've seen recently on Netflix. I think it might be a Netflix original. It's called The Great Pretender. because I am a fan of heist movies, a big fan of heist stories, and to have an anime that is not only about a con man, but they speak maybe 5 to 6 different languages in the show over 2 seasons, which is kind of nuts as well because they travel the world, and it's one of the most gorgeous animes I've seen. Some of those still shots are just like beautiful water paintings, and so yeah, big fan. So those are my favorites, either zombies or con men.
Did you watch the K-drama The Heist? Just saying.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
Are we?
We're done. Thank
We're
you.
done. Oh.
So y'all, it means the world to us when you
Yes.
gave up this time to be with us. So thank you so much, and great questions. Hope that we didn't put you to sleep or anything, but it's always such a treat and an honor to be invited and to know that you're interested. So let's give a big round of applause to Amanda Gish.
Very Yandell.
Major Attaway. And you.
Thank you guys.
If you see us passing in the hall and you think of a question you were too afraid to ask on microphone,
Tell us hi.
as long as we're not running to the bathroom,
Yes,
just
yes.
we'll stop and be happy to answer. We're really honored. Thank you so much.